paranormal people. Lamech here from Insane Disappearances. Got another story for you today. This one is about a woman named Joanne Burmer. That's Joanne Burmer. Burmer. She went missing around February 25th, 1973, in Nevada City, California. Um, she was at the age of 38, so she was fairly young. Um, and she was about 5'3", 135 pounds. Now, Joanne, she was a mother who lived about 80 miles. She lived like just off Highway 80 in the Sierra foothills of Colfax, California. She has friends throughout the region and enjoys socializing a lot. Her parents also lived in Reno, Nevada, approximately 80 miles east at the time. Um, Now, on February 25th, 1973, Joanne left her child with a good friend of hers in Colfax. She stated that she was going to go visit some friends that owned a cabin in Nevada City. Joanne's car was later found on the roadway near the cabin, as were tracks in the snow leading towards the cabin. Now, see, this is the crazy part. So, obviously, somewhere, like, I, obviously, she parked the car, adjacent to the cabin. She gets out, and somewhere between the point where she's walking towards the cabin and before she actually got there, somehow she disappeared. Now, she might have been grabbed abruptly by something that was hiding in the woods, or she was elevated off the ground and into a UFO, or she walked into oblivion, meaning she walked into some sort of portal that led to an unknown dimension that she was not aware of, obviously. Um, but that's just my theory. Let's see now. She never arrived at the cabin and has never been seen again. Now, there was also a search that was drawn by the Nevada County Sheriff Wayne Brown. He utilized I'd say about 50 inmates from the California Youth Authority. Now, he waited until June 13th to do the search because he wanted to wait until the snow cleared. That way he'd be able to find some more evidence. Now, the evidence that was found was only a comb. That's the only thing they ever found of her at that point, other than the car. So, other than that, that's all they really had on that case. Because most of these cases that you find on people who disappeared, they, especially the ones that are never found, only have information that leads up to the point where she disappeared. I mean, it's like, okay, you go from point A to point B. That means you leave the place where you were last seen and you take off, and then they find your car. You know, and that's it. They either find your car or you just walk away, and that's it. That's all they that's the only evidence they could ever gather from that. So now if they was a point where they were just shedding clothing, like a woman that I heard about who was traveling somewhere with her infant child. They said that she obviously was in her car at a point, and she was near some woods, and the window was rolled down. It was snow all in the driver's seat. Um, they said that as they got out the car, like, obviously she was shedding her clothes, and they found her a couple of feet away from the car, lying on the ground on top of the bassinet where her baby was, and she was dead, and so was the baby. But they didn't say anything about the baby being naked, but they said that the woman was naked. Weird. Anyway, but like I said, that's all they really had on that story. There's another story here about Debra K. Manial. She went missing December 12th, 1982, in a place called Dobbins, California. She was at the age of 29, so she was even younger. Okay, she was about 5'4", 112 pounds. Now, this is around the holiday, Christmas, So she was, looking for some trees that she could cut down, for Christmas. And that area that she was in, she obviously had a permit to cut the trees down because this was in the forest. She basically went with a group. Sorry, guys. She went with a group, and they decided they were going to split up the way they can find some trees a lot faster that way. Now, during that point, that's around that time, that's when she vanished. Went off in their separate ways, and when they realized that, I think they was going to meet up at a certain point, and when they realized that she wasn't there, they started searching for her, and never found her. Or any trace of her. They after they realized that they couldn't find her, they called what's that sheriff's? Oh yeah, the Yuba County Sheriff's. She called the Union County Sheriff's Office, and they started searching for her. They used 2 helicopters, ground teams, and canines, to cover the hills where Debra was last seen. They found no evidence of Debra ever being in the area. Immediately after Debra disappeared, the Los Angeles Times published an article about the incident, stating during the time of the woman, during the time that the woman has been missing, the area has been blasted with rainstorms, snowstorms, and freezing temperatures. Now, see, this is another case of these crazy weather patterns that seem to pop up every time someone disappears. It's almost like someone knows that this person is gone in the forest or in the national parks, so they somehow implement some type of crazy weather that drowns the entire area of any evidence, causing you to never find any evidence at all stating that she was even there. And I'm talking footprints, hair samples, maybe some particles from your clothing, like maybe some torn fragments from the fabric. But this happens all the time. Someone disappears in the mountains. What happens? A huge snowstorm occurs. You disappear in the forest. Same thing: snowstorm or rain or freezing temperatures. Because the freezing temperatures hardens the ground. So let's just say something is walking across the ground and it just breaks up whatever footprints you may find. And I know this for a fact because I've been there, where I could be in an area like this is back in New Jersey, and I was walking in an area where there was a lot of mud and where it was cold. I think I was walking through the woods because a lot of times when I was growing up, I would walk through the woods to get home, and you see some footprints on the ground, or like maybe a little mound, or like just some elevated muddy areas. You step on it and it would crackle and break apart, and that's what would happen here. But the water from the rain would just saturate the area, and it will wash away any and all evidence of footprints or even handprints. Maybe she tripped and fell on the ground. You never know. But that's what always happens every single time. It becomes a very noticeable pattern when it comes to people disappearing. Why that happens, I don't know. But something has got to be in control of this weather that seems to pop up every single time. So that makes you think that it could be the government, because everyone says that the government is controlling all this crazy weather with this thing they call the HARP, which is just a bunch of rods that is encased in a caged area all over the planet, where they use electromagnetic energy to bombard the clouds, and that's when I'm guessing that's how all this weather just seems to pop up out of nowhere, But yeah, it's very crazy, very weird. But those are two stories where people just seemingly vanish without a trace, with little or no evidence stating that they were actually there. So those are those 2 stories right there. I will be, I will be reading more stories, the short stories, and I've noticed that he hasn't really posted any of the crazy stories where they say that clothing was found next to them on a log somewhere with just one shoe in the area. I'm pretty sure the deeper I get into the cases in this book, that I'll probably see some of this stuff. I'm hoping to get some of that, and I'm thinking it might be some of the big stories, the big cases that's in here where it has a lot of information that you have to read. Um, I haven't gotten that far yet. Some of them I kind of skip because I want to get to the ones that can last a good 15 minutes or less. So, because like I said, that's a lot of reading you have to do in order to get all the information in there. So I will try to read some of the long cases, with all the information in it, to see if I can get it into my vlogs, that way, and post it. That way you can, see some of the, where you can listen to a lot of the other cases. But other than that, that was pretty much it on those two stories. I was surprised I was actually able to fit two stories into my 15 minutes. But as you can see, I was able to do that. Oh, excuse me, I got it itch on my back. But yeah, so I will be reading more and I will be passing along these stories to you guys. So, you know, that's pretty much it. So, always imparting aloha, mahalo, and ohuiho, which means till we meet again in Hawaiian. Be blessed, guys. Peace.